Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so we're going to finish out we're going to keep going on these diamond stones here. I forgot to write down on my note what we were at. So this is number 8, and this is the Lansky diamond sharpening stone. The last one we did was the Smiths. The one before that was the Husky. The Smiths, awesome, kind of all around the stone. That Husky, boy, I'm really kind of impressed with that thing. I mean, for 15 bucks and available at Home Depot, that's a pretty dang nice stone. The last one before that was the Sharpening, the 3x8, 325 and 1200 grit stone. Really nice stone. I think these are like 50 bucks. The Easy Lap was before that. Not a bad stone at all either. So this one right here is going to be on the Lansky. It is a double-sided stone with the kind of composite construction where you've got, a diamond plate, diamonds on some sort of a metal, and then it's glued or bonded to a piece of plastic, and then that plastic, well, we can't tell because this right here is a ridge that's supposed to fit into the case, and then another piece of plastic, and then another diamond stone. Color coordinated, I believe this side right here, the blue, is the fine grit, which is 600 grit side, and then the green, I believe, is the medium, which is a 280 grit side. You can get these off of Amazon right now for $34. And it says here I bought this one on in 2019. So I've had this stone for 4 or 5 years. It's been sitting up there on the shelf. I honestly don't use it a whole lot. That 600 grit side, for me, 600 grit is a little bit too fine. And the 280 grit side, you'd think that'd be pretty close to 325, but for me this stone always felt a little like it was cutting quite a bit coarser than what it was rated at. But we'll take a look at it anyway. So both sides are continuous surface, okay, which I really like that. I don't particularly care for the interrupted surface unless it's on, these little pocket, utility sharpeners. These also work really good, since you've got a handle, when you're doing swords or big choppers or axes. These work really nice because they get your hand, far enough away from the edge. I forgot to put that in the last video. Anyway, this stone, I might have sharpened maybe 20 or 30 knives on it or so not very many at all. So we will go ahead and we'll take the utility razor knife here, and we'll run it across the entire surface of both sides of the stone and see what we hear. So this is the 280 grit side. Now these can have quite a bit of shop dust or whatever on them, but there is a couple of pieces down in here that's catching the edge. Maybe that's why I didn't like this one all that much. Maybe there's some... Yeah, there is some trash up on this one. Maybe that's how come I never really used it all that much. But it's not as bad as the DMTs, that's for sure. Okay, so that's the 280 grit side. Now the 600 grit side. Yeah, you see how see how my hand is stopping? Now, that kind of seems to happen a little bit more on the interrupted type surfaces, but these are not interrupted. They're just continuous. So yeah, there's quite a bit of clumps of diamonds on this one. And if this was a stone that that I really liked and it was in a grit rating that I really liked. So if you're a 600 grit guy, you know, this one's 600 grit. So, you know, if that's what you had, you know, and it might, I mean, I don't use the 600 grit side hardly at all. So, you know, that might work its way out in, you know, a dozen knives or so, something like that. But let's go ahead and put a quick edge on it. Now this knife is entirely too sharp now because we sharpened it. So let's go ahead and take that edge off. You know, so we give the stone a good run for its money, right? I actually took a little bit more of the edge off there than I probably should have for a quick video. But so what I'm doing, since I took a little bit more edge off than what I was after with that brick, I'm just pressing a little bit harder to get the stone to cut a little bit faster. Now, that's one thing with diamonds that you got to watch out for, okay? And one thing that I'm pretty rough about. So, you know, typically when I'm sharpening knives, I mean, I enjoy sharpening knives well enough, you know, I mean, I'm more or less I enjoy having a sharp knife. But I am not the kind of guy to sit here and spend, you know, heck, even 20 minutes sharpening a single knife. I mean, I don't even spend 20 minutes sharpening a straight razor, much less a, you know, a pocket knife or a EDC or something like that. So I tend to use a little bit more pressure than probably what most diamond stones like. And that also has a tendency to rip diamonds out. Okay, so I have been getting a little bit of a burr, and it's no longer reflecting light, which you probably can't see that. So now we'll wipe the trash off the top of the stone. We'll start lightening up our pressure and reducing the number of strokes on each side. Now that feels pretty dang good. So again, that right there is your blade bevel, you know, the angle that the blade was ground at. That right there is about the angle that we were using to sharpen it. This right here is about the angle that we're going to use to shear the burr off. Feel a little bit of a burr left on that side. Okay, so the burr's nice and gone. It's shaving okay. That's actually a little bit better stone than what I remember it being. I mean, you guys saw that. I mean, I pretty much wrecked that edge completely on that brick. And in, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, brought it back to shaving with the 280 grit side. Now, so that's really not a bad stone at all. It does have that tinny sound and a little bit of that tinny feel on the, you know, through the knife, which is probably just the vibration of the blade going over and getting cut by the diamonds, and this being, you know, that plastic, you know, that plastic kind of construction, kind of like what the Husky has and kind of like what the Smiths have. So those don't feel quite as nice as the solid ones like the Sharpall or the DMT. And that's kind of to be expected because these have got plastic bases and the DMT and the Sharpall have got steel bases. And that steel soaks up an awful lot of vibration and gives you a little bit better feel of the blade on the stone. But that being said, you know, that's still a pretty dang nice stone. So if you're a 600 grit guy or gal, or, you know, a 280 grit person, you know, that might be the stone for you. Really not a bad stone at all. And it seems like it just needs a couple of sharpenings to get rid of some extra trash that's on there. So it's not quite as clean, you know, out of the box as that Husky or that Sharpall is. But again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.